I'm not competent enough. Okay then. Park rangers are pros at answering questions, and we're usually quite happy to do so, even the ones you hear over and over. Where's the tree that you drive through? What's that sign say on the side of the cliff? Are the ice caves accessible yet? And the one you hear more than all the others combined, which way are the restrooms? On the occasions when the questioner has a chip on his shoulder, it's really not worth letting it get to you. Just do your job and move on. There will be someone much nicer to talk to before very long. At least, that's what I always told the eager young rangers I hired and trained over the years. It's good advice and I mostly followed it myself. However, I do remember a gentleman who started to get on my nerves back when I was working at a small eastern park renowned for both its history and its scenery. This fellow wasn't interested in either right then, he just wanted a bite to eat. That's reasonable enough, and I pointed him in the direction of several nearby establishments. The problem arose when he asked which one I thought he should go to. Unfortunately, for a bunch of reasons too complicated to go into here, we were strictly forbidden to recommend one local business over another. I apologized and explained that I couldn't say one way or the other, but that wasn't good enough for our man. He blew his top at me, "That's ridiculous, I pay your salary," and so on, you know the drill. I apologized again, then let him rant a bit more, and just as I was about to smile and turn away, he came up with an idea that I'm sure he thought was pretty darn clever. "Well, where do you go for lunch? Can you tell me that at least, or is that something else you have to keep secret?" "Thank you, God," I murmured silently. "I owe you one." "Sure, I can tell you that much at least. I usually go to a place called the Powerhouse, and I can tell you how to get there." He puffed up in triumph as I gave him detailed directions out of town and down a dirt road to the abandoned hydroelectric plant where I liked to park and eat my brown bag lunch. The road's a bit rugged in stretches, but there are some mighty fine views of the river and I hope he enjoyed them. This happened to me a few years ago. I was owed a significant sum of money by the company which handles my doctor's billing. She worked at a large healthcare system which outsourced billing to this company. For months and months, I tried via email and phone to get the money back, but each time I was treated rudely or ignored. They would either say they are still working on it or would act like I had never requested the money in the first place and needed to start the process over. It was maddening. One day after receiving another rude email from this company, I decided to leave a Yelp review on my doctor's page. I essentially said that while the doctor and her staff were helpful and professional, the billing company they used was atrocious and made the entire experience not worth it. Lo and behold, the very next day I get a call from the CEO of the billing company. He asks what the problem is and I explain. He says, "Okay, I'll make sure the money gets sent as soon as possible. Could you please take the review down?" Apparently, he was getting angry calls from my doctor and he seemed pretty pressured to get it taken down. I respond that I can take the review down after I get my money back. He gladly accepts my offer. A week later, there is my check in the mail. Here's the thing though. I never specified how long until I would take the review down after I get the money. So, I wait a week. Get some calls and texts from the CEO. Ignore them. Wait another week. Respond that I'm having technical problems logging into Yelp but should have it resolved soon. After about 6 months of him reaching out and me being as unhelpful as possible, I finally took it down. The next time I returned to that doctor's office, it was a whole new billing system. Not sure if my review made a difference, but it was sweet malicious compliance regardless. Edit. Wow, this has really blown up. Thank you for the awards. I went back to review my correspondences with the billing company. It made me realize the whole situation was even more screwed up than I had originally described here. The reason they owed me money was because at first, my insurance had told me they were not going to cover the appointments because the doctor was not in network. However, I had found the doctor through my insurance website. When I went back to check, the doctor's name was no longer listed on their website. Luckily for me, I had taken a screenshot at the time so I could have the phone number for the doctor on hand. After I sent the insurance company the screenshot, they agreed to cover the appointments. They paid the billing company, yet the billing company refused to refund me the money I had paid. So essentially, they were collecting from both myself and the insurance company and trying to get away with it. American healthcare in a nutshell. Also, when I told my wife about this post, she told me I need to make a correction. The CEO sent me a check within 4 days, it was not even an entire week. After months and months of reaching out, I am in my first ever real corporate job. Before that I went to university for roughly 6 years to get 2 degrees, both psychology, and during my time of study had part-time jobs, internships, freelanced and learned to code a bit, made a website, some scripts to automate my internship tasks, etc. Nothing fancy. All my previous jobs were tech related, so I eventually got hired as an IT consultant despite my degree. A lot of companies refused to even invite me. They said I would bring important values, skills and knowledge to the team. I did. I gave trainings on communication, creativity techniques and project management, all while learning stuff about development and consulting. So it was a win-win. After about 6 months I got the responsibility of a UI redesign, since I was the only woman and they needed someone good with design. But it happens that I love creative tasks and I was happy to take on responsibility. A year goes by and I did a splendid job, so I was told by colleagues, management and customers. Although I was responsible for project management, I created design drafts, to later discuss them with our UX department. I read and learned a lot about design principles, brand management and usability. The design team even said that they would love to have someone like me in every project, because our collaboration helps them a lot to solve issues more efficiently. After a year working like this we got restructured, my awesome manager got promoted and I got a new one. To sum it up, this guy has been there for 20 years and wants the next 20 to be as calm as possible. Which means, don't work too hard, no one will thank you. I observed that he can only keep this up because he is good at networking and making friends all over the company and throughout the hierarchy. Being there 20 years and paying favors at the right time, he is settled pretty good without doing or knowing anything about the job. After a few months a customer comes to me with a request for a new feature and a really simple mock-up of the new UI. I tell them that we have to get the okay from our UX department before it goes to development, but it shouldn't take long. To save time for the UX and devs I made the mock-up look better. Well, it was just one screen and didn't take me more than 15 minutes. To be honest, explaining the business process to the designer would have taken 3 one-hour meetings to produce the same, and our design team was already drowning in work and they even thanked me. So, because I wanted to save company time and money, I didn't think more of it. The customer was very happy to see their vision and my mock-up made its way to their top management. He told my boss that I did a great job on that design and they wanted it developed as soon as possible. My boss saw all the extra work, high-level hierarchy pressure and attention, and I think he got a little jealous of all the praise, but eventually he snapped at me with, "You shouldn't have sent the designs without my permission, and also, creating designs does not even correspond to your competence." Malicious compliance. Since then, every task that was handed to me that requires some creative work, I quickly call a meeting with our designer and discuss every detail with him. We get along great and it is fun to collaborate on these things. In addition, I couldn't make the presentation pretty anymore for my boss. He ended up showing the most horribly designed slides I have ever seen, which I would have given him feedback on, if I only was competent enough. I transferred jobs to another department and I don't hold a grudge against the company, the manager or the politics. I loved my job because I learned so much. Also how big corporations work and that there sometimes is more politics involved than common sense. TLDR, I took on a creative task which led to much praise by upper management. My boss got jealous and told me that creative tasks do not correspond with my competence. So I had to spend hours of fun time with our designer to discuss minor details. Thank you for listening to Campfire TTS. Please like, comment, and subscribe.